You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I deliver it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. Before we get into our intriguing content today, though, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer, virgin to Ron Siegel Radio, Louie Vazquez. Vazquez and family, welcome.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And of course, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Well, this one's from a buddy Mitchell. Hey, he's probably still sleeping because this one does fit in just for him. Today is National Custodial Workers Day. National Custodial Workers Recognition Day, I should say. And I don't know about this one. National Name Your Car Day. I don't know what I'm going to name my car, but Guzzler? Maybe I'll call it Guzzler. I don't know, something along those lines. And then, having beaten anorexia, I always come up with something to fit. Today is National Fried Scallops Day. Almost any way I can get scallops, I'm game. I'm up for them. Let's check out the markets this morning. What are the markets doing? We've been watching them all day. They are up. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 136 points. Oil absolutely flat. It's actually down 1 penny, so we're not going to really spend a whole heck of a lot of time as on that one there. $75.26 per barrel. And I'm certainly not going to look up, we talked about yesterday about how much we're paying in Taxifornia, so we're not going to get into that one again. Let's check and look and see what's going on in other news. Obviously, we are still on Kavanaugh watch. And, you know, I must admit, I helped start a fraternity when I was in college, and now I know that I cannot be a Supreme Court justice because I might have thrown some ice at somebody at some point in time.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, and you know that if you throw ice at somebody during your college days, that's probably a disqualifier to be a United States Supreme Court justice, even if you've got over 300 opinions that you've written in the district court. So I guess I am out. I might have drank a little too much beer. Just saying those things as well. So that could be an issue. I might, holy cow, getting all these pop-ups. I guess I must have struck a nerve with somebody on some of these issues, right? Just fascinating. I love watching what's going on now. The whole thing here is just such a joke. And I'll tell you why it's a joke. I mean, you look at flaky Jeff Flake and think about this. He got in bed with Coons, right? And Coons, then he decided, well, we need to have a FBI investigation. Coons has said right along, even before they accused Judge Kavanaugh of throwing ice at somebody, that he was voting no. So what's the benefit of the Coons investigation? Stolen Valor Blumenthal from Connecticut, right? I mean, he went around telling everybody about his Vietnam days, but he wasn't there. So he's over there. He came up with the terminology, and I shared this earlier with somebody, and it was basically, if you say one thing that's false, we should assume everything you say is false. Excuse me. So I guess we might as well just assume that anything that Blumenthal says is false if we use his own guidelines, right? I mean, not my words, that was his words. And then there is the senator from the state of confusion, Senile Feinstein. And I guess she's running for office again. Is that Feinstein? Think about this one, right? She held the letter but didn't give it to the FBI. Now, the FBI, much better than Congress at keeping things a secret. Do you think she could have given the letter to the FBI and said, this needs to be handled confidentially? Do you think they would have followed through in that manner? Just a thought. But at least McConnell, Senator McConnell, claims they're going to have a vote this week. Have we heard that anywhere before? I mean, I'm equal opportunity. I think all of them are a bunch of loons in Washington, D.C., but McConnell says we're going to have a vote this week. We'll see what happens. Probably will depend on how much money George Soros pays to some of these other organizations, right? I mean, Soros-backed progressives are the ones now they've found out that confronted flaky Jeff Flake in the elevator. We know that one. It was the Center for Popular Democracy. Yeah, another one of George Soros's missions. $80 million he has spent toward anti-Trump network. I wonder if he gave some of that money for abuse of women. I wonder if that would have had any other benefit other than this whole fiasco, this witch hunt. Unbelievable. But I guess, he made the money. He can spend it however he wants to. NBC, yes, they are in the news as well. They've given the cameras to another one of these wonderful lawyers, Michael Avenatti. He's begging for TV cameras. But his client, now this is a genius, this Julie Swetnick. She went to 10 parties where they were raping women. Now, I am just a simple guy. You go to one party, okay, they fooled you. You go to the second party. Well, it might not have been such a good idea. What about parties 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? You can't catch a clue before the 10th party? Really? And we're supposed to believe that this is what was going on? You got to wonder about, I just like to figure out, does any of this pass the smell test to anybody? I'm just a simple guy. And you know something? No one's really tried to rape me, so or sexually abuse me, so I can't speak to any of those things. But I would say that I've told my kids many, many times, if you go to a party and there's drugs and alcohol, you could be caught up in the web. Stay away. Now, if they did it 10 times, I would have to say, something, they wanted to be there, right? It wasn't a mistake any longer. And not that I can speak from experience on the sexual abuse front, but yes, my wife was at one of those events during our college days, and yes, the perpetrators did get convicted, and yes, the fraternity did get suspended because all of this went on, and yes, it was a very small conservative college right here in Orange County. So think about these things. They've gone on for years and years and decades, but there's been a lot of different ways they've been handled, and I don't know that anybody got an opportunity to go another 9 times after the first incident. Just saying. It was reported the fraternity was shut down, and they didn't get opportunity 2 through 10. Just a little simplicity there. Moving right along, Amazon increasing their minimum wage for all U.S. workers to $15 an hour. Yeah, now part-time, full-time, temporary, seasonal workers in the U.S. starting November 1st, the company announced on Tuesday the raise will apply to Whole Foods. CEO Jeff Bezos said the company decided we want to lead the effort, encouraged our competitors and other large employers to join them. Amazon plans to lobby Congress for a higher federal minimum wage as well. Now, let's think about this. Jeff Bezos now worth an estimated $160 billion. probably won't affect his lifestyle any by giving his employees $15 an hour. But I would submit to you that the small grocery store, the small drugstore, the small restaurant, it may have an effect on them. Now, who does this benefit? Well, it benefits Amazon because as the smaller businesses go out of business, where does the consumer have to go? They call this predatory pricing, but you're not going to hear that from the likes of Bernie Sanders and his fellow socialists. They just think, well, it's not a big deal, it doesn't matter. And in fact, Bernie Sanders did come out and say this morning that it's just not a big deal, that, it doesn't matter, it's too little too late. Well, let's just think about this concept, and I'm going to throw this at you real quick before we go to a break. If the $15 an hour wage is good, and that now means that there are people, the minimum wage in these various industries will be roughly $30,000 a year. We're going from, I think the federal minimum wage is about $7 an hour. California, I think we're $10 or $11 an hour. Multiply that just times 2,000. It's a rough number. So say $22,000 in California at $11 an hour. Let's talk about Amazon, $15 an hour, $30,000 a year. If that's the benefit, don't you think we'd be better off just raising everybody's wage to $50 an hour? And but you say, well, how could I go to McDonald's and pay the workers getting $50 an hour? They're going to have to raise the cost of my Big Mac to about $15. Precisely. Mm-hmm. Because if 15 is good, 30 is better. Now everyone's earning $60,000 a year. But what happens? The cost of everything is going to have to triple. And as has already happened in Seattle, people start losing their jobs. Try and go to certain restaurants and see if they've got order takers. I just heard this recently. It may have already taken place. Corner Bakery. Do you have a Corner Bakery in your neighborhood? I've beaten anorexia, so I know the restaurants. Right? They're going to stop bringing your food to you at the table. Why? They can't afford to anymore. What do you think it's going to do to labor? So all those people that were bringing the food out, they are now unemployed. So instead of earning $11 an hour or $15 an hour, they are earning nothing. Which way is better, Bernie? But he'll keep telling you, this is all for equality. We need to have a fair wage, as he's got his 3 houses and his wife took the school bankrupt after getting $10 million in donations. Yeah, those are just... Where's Mr. Blumenthal? I gotta look up that terminology from Mr. Blumenthal again. I'll have it for you after the break because it was a fairly interesting issue. I'll get it for you and share that with you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, mortgage interest rates still going up. Should you wait to buy? I'll tell you the answer to that question. You've frozen your credit, now what? 6 things you should never do with your credit card. We'll talk about that. And hey, you know something? There is a rumor that Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. Do you think you can get away with that too? We'll talk about that as well. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay will be available, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel the numeral 1, on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star is the only one I know of that has the Fast Pass loan approval. Fast Pass loan approval, saving you $10,000 to $50,000 on the purchase of your new home. So what is happening in the markets? I'm going to tell you this again. I told you this many, many times. Anybody can go on Google.com, super secret website, and tell you that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 118.93 right now. NASDAQ up 3.67. S&P 500 up 3.85. The 10-year Treasury down about 2 basis points. And the all-important for the Mortgage Minute, the Fannie Mae 30-year bond up 11 basis points. Anybody can tell you that. That's as simple as going to Google, getting the information, and away you go. Now the issue becomes why. That's more important. The what is really pretty simple. We can find out the what, we can't find out the why. That's what we have the information here for you as to why these things are happening. Well, obviously, yesterday we knew that it was the U.S. and Canada finally announcing their trade deal. And after signing a deal with Mexico a couple months ago, the push was on to get Canada on board for what would ultimately replace NAFTA. President Trump set a deadline of Sunday, September 30th, to get it done. And on Sunday night, they finally came to an agreement. The new trilateral agreement will be called United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA for short. The big trade agreement that has so far eluded the White House is with China, and I think the president was just talking about that just a couple of minutes ago, I think. His favorite word.
China.
Yeah, that's the big one. He just stepped in here and he said he wanted to talk about
China.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting, the president credits the tariffs with bringing our partners to the table. When they were first announced, too many were wringing their hands over a potential trade war, but they didn't understand that the tariffs weren't the end game, but instead an incentive to come to the table to negotiate a fairer agreement where everyone will benefit, and that's what's happened, except with
China.
Yeah. This one's going to take a little more time, but traders remain optimistic. I'll tell you exactly when China will come to the table. They're going to come to the table as soon as we find a way to let them save face. That's what it's all about, is how much they can save face.
I beat China all the time.
Yeah, the president's going to beat China in this because they need us. They need to trade. Where are they sending their goods? We are their largest consumer. It's kind of like the lunatics at City Council in Anaheim saying, we want to antagonize Disney. Right? You don't do that to your biggest customer. So, except if you're in Anaheim. I mean, the mayor of Anaheim, he doesn't mind that, but that's a whole different story. He and I don't generally see eye to eye on business. He's definitely one of the world's great rhinos of all time, but that's just a different story once again. But that is part of the why. We're going to see today that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will be speaking. That will be market moving. It always has commentary. Whenever we hear from the Fed, they're going to give us some good information as to might go up, might go down, but it always has something in there. We also saw CoreLogic release their home price index report for the month of August, showing that home prices across the U.S. rose by 5.5% year over year. This is a deceleration from 6.2%. And I hear this all the time, so I've got to share this with you. I've got to give you this bit of commentary. When you talk about the pricing on homes, now think about this. If you were driving down the street at 62 miles an hour, as long as you didn't get stopped by the police, you are going forward. Now, if you slow down to 55 miles an hour, are you going backwards or are you still going forward? Well, obviously, you're still going forward. That's what's happening in the housing market. We were going up at 6.2%. June was 6.8%. Now August is 5.5%. We are still moving forward. Now, the average number over the last 53 years, I think it's 53 years, I'll get the exact number right now, but over the last, it's on my sheet here somewhere, I'll have to get it for you. There it is. Over the last 59 years, Orange County, California, we averaged 6.13% appreciation. That's over a 59-year period. Think about that. Over the last 5 years, 7.59. So we're still doing very, very well. The numbers are still growing. Think about all those different numbers. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. They are, again, the only one I know of with the Fast Pass loan approval. So let's talk about, there's two parts of this, and when we do our seminars, if you're in the real estate community and the real estate profession, you know that once a month we do a seminar, one time in Orange County, and the next week generally it's out in the Palm Desert area. And we talk all the time about this concept. It's a very simple concept. We're talking about two things. Number one, how do you grow your income? The other part of it that I think is equally as important is how do we get rid of the IRS? Those are the two issues. So that's on our seminars. But now today we've got a big benefit. We've got Louie Vazquez is in the house. He is the principal accountant. I don't know. I've been sent to the principal many times. Maybe not this kind of principal. But he's the principal accountant, Vazquez and Family Tax and Accounting Firm. We are chatting about taxes this morning. Good morning, Louie.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Glad to have you with us. So, I tease the idea, and I'm going to save this to the very last segment, is how do I pay no tax like President Trump? We're not going to talk about that right now, but deductions. I guess there's a lot of changes in the world of in the world of deductions with the tax bill.
Yeah, a lot has changed. It's changed for both individuals, those who don't own a business. I would say for the individuals, it's not too hot, but for business owners, if you're a business owner, tax reform is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
So I ran a lot of different tax returns at the end of 2017. Right when we kind of had an idea of what the tax reform was going to be. Mm-hmm. They put that calculator online, and you can actually take a look and see, how is it going to affect you? And leading a lending team, I had lots of different people's tax returns. So I just threw their numbers in there, and there was very few. There was a small window of people that didn't save money.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority, people are saving money.
Yeah, it's going to impact individuals. The biggest thing that they've done is they've pretty much shaved about 3 to 4% off of each bracket. So, if you're someone that's making $100,000 a year, you're going to save 3% very likely off of your income based off of the decrease in the bracket. So, 3% of $100,000 a year, that is a good chunk of change. I think we can all agree with that.
Sure. And, something I just from a personal standpoint, if I could spend $3,000 a year extra on my family as opposed to sending it to the loons in Washington, I'd be much happier.
Well, that's what they're hoping for. Right.
I know there's going to be some people that are going to save that money.
Sure.
But that money then, if they save it, that means it's getting invested into something. Either by me if I'm an investor, or I can put it in the bank, and the bank's going to invest it in something.
Definitely. That's what they're hoping for.
That's the whole idea. So you made a comment there, Louie, that if you're a individual, you're going to save a little, but the business is going to save even more.
Yeah, if you're a business owner operating through what's called a pass-through entity, that would be a sole proprietor, a S corporation, or an LLC, you're going to now be able to experience 20%. It's a new deduction. I encourage you all to look it up. Section 199A. A new 20% deduction for business owners operating through a pass-through entity. So before, let's say I'm a business owner, I make $100,000 in a year, I spend $30,000, my taxable would be the difference, $70,000, and you'd be taxed on the $70,000. Now with tax reform, I make $100,000, I have expenses of $30,000, my net income is $70,000, I get 20% off of that $70,000. That is significant. So instead of getting taxed on $70,000, I'm going to get taxed on the difference, 20% off of $70,000. So I'd actually get taxed on only $56,000. So
and then I get the double the standard deduction.
Yeah, standard deduction has also increased on the personal level. So for business owners, it's going to be huge for us.
Big time. So maybe I need to call myself a business owner. We're going to talk about how that might work. Maybe real estate people, can you do this? Is there any benefit for you? Lenders, is there any benefit for you? Investors, contractors, we're going to talk. Maybe you can get into a small business. We'll talk all about that with Louie Vazquez when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to also chat a little bit about mortgage interest rates still going up. Should you wait to buy? I'll give you that answer when we come back as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Mortgage interest rates still going up. Should you wait to buy? Mortgage interest rates, as reported by Freddie Mac, have increased by close to 0.25% over the last several weeks. Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and the Mortgage Bankers Association and the National Association of Realtors are all calling for mortgage rates to rise another 0.25% by next year. In addition to the predictions from the four major reporting agencies mentioned above, the Federal Open Market Committee recently voted unanimously to approve a 0.25% point increase in the primary credit rate to 2.75%. Historically, an increase in the primary credit rate has translated to an overall jump in mortgage interest rates as well. This has caused some purchasers to lament the fact they may no longer be able to get a rate below 4%. That's a real big surprise, right? We've been telling you that right along. That surprise! Yeah, Gomer's a little loud this morning. Got to realize that if your family or your brother, or your uncle, grandmother got that rate at 4%, they're just smarter than you. They took advantage of the opportunity when the opportunity existed. I shared a chart with where historic mortgage rates are by decade. Are you ready for this? In the 70s, 8.86%. In the 80s, on average, are you ready? Drum roll, please. 12.7%. Ow! Yeah. Now, some of us paid even more than that, and we're happy to get it. In the 90s, 8.12%. 2000, 6.29%. So now, being in the mid-4s, 5s, you're still pretty good off. Pretty well off, I guess. We have great English I've got there, isn't it? Bottom line, though you may have missed the lowest mortgage rates ever offered, you can still get a better interest rate than your older brother or sister did 10 years ago, a lower rate than your parents did 20 years ago, and a better rate than your grandparents did 40 years ago. Just think about those numbers. That is the real-time real estate segment. Again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. We are continuing our conversation. Louie Vazquez is with us, Vazquez and Family Incorporated. I noticed you got that ink on there, Louie, so you got that small business deduction going on.
Definitely. S corporations all the way.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. If I've got an S corp, if I work for somebody else, so let's just use me.
Sure.
Right, so I get a W-2 paycheck from the lending company,
which is a requirement for loan officers.
Right, but every expense I have is my own.
Okay.
Do I get to write any of that off anymore?
Yeah. Now with tax reform, if you're an employee, that means someone a W-2 employee, and you have out-of-pocket expenses that your employer does not reimburse you for. Before tax reform, you were actually able to add up those expenses and report them on your tax return and get a deduction. With tax reform, that is now gone.
Really?
So that will impact a lot of people who are employees with out-of-pocket expenses, significantly, actually.
So I get a lot of expenses, so I can't take any of those
out? They got rid of the miscellaneous deduction on your itemized deduction. That is no longer
So 2106 is gone?
Gone. So
Okay, so I have to find a new way of doing this.
Yeah, that's something you want to address with your potential employer, or this is going to impact like police officers who are typically out of pocket for their ammunition, guns, their nutrition, all that stuff. A lot of people who have out-of-pocket expenses, construction. You want to start talking to your employer about, hey, can I get some sort of increase in pay, or how can we get this resolved, because that will impact you.
Okay, so that's a fascinating one right there. So now what we have to do is let's convert this, because now what I'm sharing with people is, let's talk about this part of it. How about I am a W-2 employee. I have I get paid by a lending company.
Sure.
But I figure I've got to start a family corporation.
Okay.
Right? And that corporation's sole business is to supply marketing materials and marketing products to lenders.
Okay.
And they get paid for it.
Okay.
Right? So I have to buy from them. I buy printing, advertising, postcards, business cards. They actually go out and they do seminars all over the state, and I subscribe to them. I pay them for the right to present at these.
Okay.
Does that all work?
Yeah, so, anytime you have any type of expenses associated with producing income, those are business deductions. So on your tax return, if you're experiencing expenses with the intent to earn income, those would be deductible.
Okay, so I need to go out and start a new pass-through business entity that's going to do these kind of things.
Start without even creating a legal entity. You're operating as a sole proprietor, so you can report income and expenses on Schedule C. This is one reason why a lot of people get involved with MLMs or network marketing companies, to get a business going, so that way they have a way to expense some of their expenses. So that would work.
Okay.
Just be careful with how many years you're reporting losses, because after about 3 years, if you're continually reporting losses on a tax return, the government may analyze those losses and say, hey, this isn't a business, this is more of a hobby.
Yeah, it's all, 2008, it seemed like it must have been a hobby, but it wasn't any fun, Louie. It wasn't fun, and we didn't make money. So how does that work? I don't know about that one. Okay, so let's talk next. Credit card debt. Are you helping people with that too?
Yeah, we do a little bit of personal finance help. Typically I call it one of the 5 things. So
One of the 5 things?
One of 5 things. If you're in a credit card debt, you gotta really take a look at your personal finances. You have a problem with one of 5 things. If you're in the
spend too much.
You're spending too much on something. Typically with people my age in the 20 to 35, 40-year-old demographic, a lot of it mills in entertainment. That's where a lot of money gets wasted, is on going out.
Okay, now Louie, let's go back here. I resemble that remark when you start talking about spending too much. Not in the 30s. I'm not in my 30s, but spending too much on meals.
Yeah, it's crazy. You go out. Let's say you go to California Pizza Kitchen, BJ's Pizza, and maybe you go throw in an In-N-Out. You're spending $20 to $40 each time. You do that 3 times a week. So if I'm spending $30 every time I go out, and I'm doing it 3 times a week, that's $90 a week. That's 4 weeks a month, that's $360 a month, and then you times that by 12 months over the course of a year, that adds up very, very quickly.
Absolutely, and then you start putting on 30% interest on that for your credit card.
Yeah, and then tack on that, right?
You know, you can really get in there and just you got a bad feeling about it.
I got a bad feeling about
so,
this.
So, you know, it's really meals, entertainment, shopping. You might have some sort of gambling issue. There might be an issue with maybe a sin like, you know, alcoholism or drugs. And then another reason we typically find out is when we have a lot of expenses going out, we typically find affairs. So it's one of those 5 things. So if you're in credit card debt, the best thing you can do, it's not necessarily the debt that's the problem, it's that interest rate of 20%. That's really the killer. So if you can find a way to consolidate that into an interest-free credit card or get some sort of low-interest loan to consolidate your debt, that's really the only way you can dig yourself out of credit card debt. The interest rate is the killer.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk more about these issues. How do I pay no tax like President Trump? We're going to talk about that when we come back. And how about IRS debt? How do I get out of that one? We'll talk about that as well. Got a lot to still cover. And also 6 things you should never do with your credit card. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 0186945 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. They're all wrong. I've never seen one completely accurate, and I've been looking at them for several decades now. I just haven't seen a completely accurate one. I've seen scores as high as 834, 850 is perfect, and they're all still wrong. Credit Sanitizer, they've got the answers for you. 6 things you should never do with your credit card. Let's just look at them real quick. Number 1 is do not skip payments. Go in, I've told you this before, pay your credit card bill twice a month, always twice a month. Pay as much as you can right before the statement closing date, and then make sure you've got a scheduled payment for minimum payments right before the payment due date. Late fees, $25 to $35 each time according to Credit Karma. Just think about that part of it. Carrying a maximum balance, that will hurt your FICO scores. If you've got a $1,000 credit line, using $1,000 on it, that is going to hurt your credit score big time. Stay below 30%, that'll help you out. Use it to withdraw cash. Yeah, that's what you got an ATM card for. Using a credit card, they've got the extra charges for that, so don't use it to withdraw cash. It'll hurt you a lot as well. And obviously, buying things you don't need, that's a no-brainer, but a lot of times it becomes real simple to buy the things we don't need. And the other one is don't lend out your credit card. About 35% of the people who lent their credit cards to other people have suffered financially because of it, according to a recent survey. So don't do it. And again, don't share the information about it on social media. Social media can be a great place, but boy, in some instances, don't tell everybody where you're going. Have you been watching the news lately? If you're not listening, at least we haven't heard anything about Russia lately. I know that that's a big issue. Haven't heard a whole lot about Russia lately, but I did notice one of the broadcasts, and I don't follow the celebrities too much, but I noticed one of them was just robbed, I guess for the 3rd time. Well, isn't it fascinating that they're very active in social media and then they get robbed? They wonder, how did they know nobody was home? Well, it's because you keep posting where you're at, telling people that you're not home, you're on vacation in Hawaii, and then wonder, wow, the thieves got into your house. How could that possibly happen? How did they know that nobody was there? Well, you told them. Now, I'm a Facebooker. I've got all the social media channels. I guess Instagram is easy to follow somebody on without them definitely approving you. And then that's what the celebrities all want, and they're all on Instagram. So I guess you've got it pretty simple right there. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. We are continuing our conversation this morning. Louie Vazquez is in the house. We're talking about taxes. So IRS debt, Louie, how do we get, the IRS seems like they've got their claws in everybody. Is there a way of getting out of that?
Yeah. IRS debt, that's something that we do. I don't necessarily specialize in it, but I am able to handle it. There are firms that's all they do is IRS resolutions. So the biggest thing that people need to understand is if you actually owe over $50,000, the IRS is now disallowing passports. That's something that's rather new. Yeah. So if you have debt over $50,000, you will not be able to leave the country. And $50,000 is really not that much money. I think we both agree on that.
So if you owe that to the IRS,
they won't allow you to leave the country. You have to stay domestically. Your passport is now disallowed. So if you owe less than $50,000, and if you call in, if you call in and it's less than 75, you can set up a payment plan, decent interest rate, about 5-6%, and you can spread that out over 72 months. Okay, get a payment plan at 72 months, and that should give you a good, affordable monthly payment. That's your first option, is set up the payment plan. Again, the IRS gives you 72 months at an affordable interest rate to pay off your balance. That's usually your best bet. The second thing is the IRS will potentially want to settle something called an offer in compromise. Now, That sounds really good. There's really good radio, a lot of advertisements about settling with the IRS. And offering compromise, you have to basically prove that there's no way that you can pay off the balance that you owe. So, if you're a real estate agent and you've racked up some debt, $40,000, $50,000, but you're making $150,000, well, the IRS isn't going to settle. Okay, they're going to want the full amount back. But if you're someone like a real estate agent, you have a year where you owe $30,000, and then you decide to switch careers from a real estate agent to maybe like a teacher. You're going from making $150,000 a year to making about $40,000. Very unlikely that you're going to be able to pay. So there has to be some sort of life-changing circumstances for the IRS to settle.
Okay, so they want their money.
They want their money. They want their money.
Okay, so that's a good one. So at least we know that's an option there. So let's get into the taxes again.
Sure.
Or how do we pay that? So Donald Trump pays no tax?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. That's a lot of people come to me and say, hey, how do I pay no tax like Trump? Now, the best thing you can do is if you're making money, and especially if you're a business owner or potentially individuals and you're making money, I would say over that $100,000 a year threshold, get with an accountant, because we are magicians when it comes to what you owe the IRS. I actually have a law firm right now. This year they will gross just shy of $1,850,000. They're not going to pay a single dollar in tax. How did I do that? Give me a call. I'll let you know about it.
$1,850,000 and no tax.
They're gonna make just shy of $1 million. They're gonna gross $850,000. Okay, this year, and based off of what's called tax planning, that's when I project the rest of the year and give advice on moves to make before the end of the year. There's gonna be some moves that they're gonna want to make before the end of the year that will result in them owing not a dollar to the federal government.
So they pay their quarterlies, so they don't owe a dollar anymore.
No quarterlies either.
Okay,
quarterlies either.
So here's the issue there, and I'm glad you brought that up and kind of you gave me a good transition there, Louie.
Sure.
I'm a big proponent. Now, right now, as we broadcast here, we're early October. I don't know what day you're actually listening to this. If you're listening to us live, early October. I know that there's some people that have to get their taxes done by the 15th of October, right? That's another one of those big days if you got an extension.
On
right?
extension, yeah.
But the more important thing is now is the time to do your 2018 tax planning. Now, 2018 tax reporting is going to be February through April next year. But I'm going to submit that if you haven't done your planning this year, you're severely limiting the methods that a great tax planner, professional, CPA like Louie can help you with. Right? Your hands get a little. I mean, I'm sure there's certain things you can do the first of next year that you can backdate, but and I don't mean backdated in a legal way. I mean as far as you have a certain amount of time to pay your retirement plans or things like that.
Yeah, if you meet with a tax professional before the end of the year, CPA enrolled agent, someone that knows what they're doing, if you meet with us end of the year between October and December, we can give you advice on moves to make, and it is not uncommon for us to give advice that's going to save $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 compared to if you do nothing. So if you're just seeing your accountant during tax time, February through April, your accountant's nothing more than just a historian reporting what happened.
Right.
But if you see someone fourth quarter, we can give you advice, and the amount of money we can save you is significant. You'll pay us $3,000 for a tax plan, but we're saving you $15,000. That exchange, that return on investment is invaluable.
So how many times do you want to trade $3,000 for $15,000?
Definitely.
Right? I mean, and I submit again that, real great advice costs absolutely nothing. Right? I mean, you think about this. Who are the most successful investors in the stock market? I would guess that those people who are putting huge seven-figure deposits with hedge fund managers. What does a hedge fund manager charge? Well, they charge 3% just to let you in the door. And then they charge you 20% of whatever they make for you. They call it 20 and 3. Think about that. Now, I hear people say, well, I would never pay somebody 20%. Well, why do you think that the millionaires and billionaires are doing that? Because they like the hedge fund manager? No. because they feel they can get a better rate of return with them than they can anywhere else. They're buying a service. Same as what Louie just said. You're paying him $3,000 or whatever the number is, but if he can save you $15,000, doesn't that make a whole lot of sense? Why do you worry about what he makes? Worry about what you make. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't know any, accountants, a good accountant, what I would really do as far as fees, accountants, we can literally charge whatever we want, but analyze when you're working with an accountant, you want to analyze two things. One, how much you're paying your accountant, and two, what is the tax that you're going to be out of pocket? For example, let's say you pay us, a good firm, $5,000 over the course of the year for accounting, tax planning, and tax prep services, but you only owe $10,000. Your total out of pocket between what you pay us, $5,000, and what you owe the government, $10,000, that's $15,000. Where if you go to like H&R Block will charge you maybe $500, but you owe $30,000.
Sure.
You see that comparison there? So you're paying H&R Block a fraction of what you would pay us, but what you owe the government is significant compared to the advice that we can provide. So that's the best way to analyze choosing an accountant. Don't ever shop an accountant on price, shop an accountant on results.
And I would suggest that most of your household board of directors, that's going to be the same scenario, right? You want to find out what is the total benefit to you and what is your rate of return. I mean, that's the whole thing, is what is your rate of return, and that's more important than a simple, there are some people that'll go the other way. I don't understand it, but there are some that will go the other direction, but that's just their choice. You want to meet Louie Vazquez? Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'm happy to put you in touch with him. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
And I can be